All right, I'm back. I apologize that the stream went down. There's probably a little bit of a cut between the two on the video if you're watching from home. Or watching from home. If you're watching when I'm not live, I apologize if that went down. I got an error. Not sure why. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. I changed the setting that it claimed errored. I'm going to do my best to make sure that those two get merged so that there is just a slight jump. I don't know why it happened. I really apologize. OBS is a great program, and it might be the best program to stream with, but it still has its flaws. And yeah, they're working on it. They're making it better all the time. All right, so to review the bot as it stands today, and then to add some complexity to it, this is the, let me close this to avoid any confusion here. This is the class, which everything Java does is in classes, that actually defines our helper bot. And it extends PerkBot, which is what, which is the library I'm using to connect to IRC channels. So these two, so this is what I named mine, and because it's extending this PerkBot, that gives me access to certain functions that I don't have to write, but I can write extra things to do with them, or I can just make it more complicated, which is what we need. So for example, I'm going to set a private string. I'm going to call it bot name. I think that's right. Let me just verify. Yep. This is doing the same thing I'm doing on mine. Now I'm making the variable private because I don't want anything to be able to access it outside of the actual bot itself. So my main program here will not be able to directly access the bot name, but it's going to be setting the bot name anyway. So this is kind of, it's a little irrelevant in this case. So there's the bot name. Let's do a private string points name. Let's do private. I'm going to make it a double. Points rate. And we're not going to use that just yet, but that's going to be set up for when we're ready to start multiplying people's view time by their points to get how many points they've earned, or to figure out how frequently it's checking the list of people that are currently in the channel in order to add points. What else did I set? Get my settings back up. Random events, channel to join, password, account name. Okay, those are all fine. And okay, so set. So this is the constructor for the class. I'm actually going to pull this up now. Have them both up at once. In order to get my bot to start running, I need to construct a new version of that bot. And do that by using the name here and creating a new version of it, which is exactly what this is doing. Now, instead of doing it like this, where this is a static value, you can't change this once the program is running or once it's compiled even. What I want to do is change this to bot name. And set name is going to be a, what's it called? That's a function that's part of PerkBot. I didn't write that. And that actually allows me to set the name of it without having to worry about it otherwise. In fact, I probably don't need the bot name because it's set already. But we're going to, for the sake of safety here, we're going to do it like this. Okay. So now in the constructor, do I have it here? So here's the Hello World app constructor that I was doing for the Hello World, which is our standard function. If you ever want to start programming, you can look up the hello world, and that will give you the absolute most basic thing that you can write in any language. And it's available for every language, too. Now, I want this to take the string of the, I'm just going to call it in bot name. And then, if you look here, like these are the variables it takes in. And where's our constructor? And here's where it's passing the variables. So, you do the same thing. I'm going to set, first I'm going to set bot name equal to in bot name. And that way I can use it right here. And as you can see, this is kind of, I could just set this to here too, but we're gonna go the extra step. The in variable is called in bot name, which gets put into bot name, and then bot name becomes the actual bot name through the use of the set. And then in here, this is where I'm going to do Dagenbot. So now this should all work exactly as it was before. But now I need to construct a function to get the variables, because the variables are really important. Let's say public string. I'm going to call it get settings. I actually want this to return an array, for now at least. We might swap that to something else. But I think I do that. I'm not positive. I might be able to leave it like that. I'm going to leave it like that for now. The way you declare an array is you use those square brackets that I had up for a second. All right, so now we have this public, and that's all I need, right? Public. Oh, let me pass it a directory. Okay. So in this case, the dir is going to be the directory of the settings file. Actually, no, I don't need that, because it's just, if you don't give it a specific directory, Java defaults to the current directory. So, I hope. if I end up releasing this and people are having problems with it, I'll set it. That's an easy thing to fix. But for right now, I believe that's going to be okay. So here's our file read test. So first we need this. This is our file library. This is what actually allows us to connect to files. There's a handful of libraries that are in this star that it'll pick up and include and give us access to functions. Okay, so here we have the file name being set here. So we'll reference one line at a time. Okay. This is the important part here. Oh wait, and all that. in case I missed all that. All right, so. And you know what, I'm going to copy all of it. Copy all of it over. In this case, the file name is going to be settings. I think I left it all lowercase. Just make sure. Yep, all lowercase. Probably won't make a difference, but you want to try and keep that as consistent as possible. There are some operating systems where capitalization in file names matters. In Windows, it does not, and most people use Windows. And I don't know if in Java it makes a difference. I can test that later if I'm thinking about it. But it's better just to keep it consistent and to keep everything consistent, which is, of course, means keeping it the same. Okay, so let's expand this one. You can actually see what we're doing. This is going to take the file name of settings, This is going to set this line equal to null, which just means it's blank. File reader is the class of that we need to use in order to actually get information from files. And as you can see, we're setting this to a new file reader, and we're setting it to this file name up here. Buffered reader is a type of file reader, which is why it's included here. And it's what actually allows you better access to it. It allows you to, it adds on a couple extra functions and makes it a little easier to read the file in. So now what this does at the moment is this just reads in everything in there and prints it out, which in this case isn't all that useful. Just thinking of how to do this at the moment. There's a couple of ways to proceed at this point. And I'm going to go through the most basic to the most complex. The most complex way is probably the correct way to do it in the long run. We might not do it that way at first, but then with all of this being in flux for a long time anyway, the easiest way might just be the way we keep it for a little while. Now, the easiest way to do this is that every time it reads through a line, we check to see what that line starts with. So when that starts with Twitch account name, it then feeds the account name into a specific variable, which I will instantiate up here. And then when it goes to the next line, it checks for one of the other ones, and so on and so forth until it reads through the entire file. That can be dangerous, because if it doesn't find one of those, if somebody goes through and goes, I don't need the account name, and they delete it, that variable now doesn't get set, and when it returns, it's now missing, and the bot can error. And then if the person really deleted it from the file, they no longer know what that's named, and now they can't add it back. They'd have to reinstall. So it's a sloppy way of doing it. It is the easiest way to do it, because it's the most straightforward. Another way of doing it would be to create an array where you store, if you make it a two-dimensional array, that means that it's a square, kind of. You have two columns for each row. And that's what you kind of want, because that way you can store the name of the variable plus the value for the variable. I'm covering my face, I just realized. You didn't want to see me anyway, right? Little cleaner, because it puts all of the data in one variable, which is kind of nice, because that way you can pass that variable back using a return function, which I don't currently have. But the downside to that is that, again, you can have the same problem, is that you no longer know where all of these variables are within the actual array. So the third method would be to create a new class that takes in all of the settings, similar to our, would be declared similar to this. Takes in all the settings, it's one variable, it has all of these things named out, and then we can pass it back and forth. In the long run, that's probably the way we're going to go. But I'd kind of like this just to be functioning again, because since I'm only really doing this in hour-long segments, I'm kind of going for quick kills, as it might be. Like trying to get into the project, get something done, and then move on so that the next day we can maybe come back and fix it up. So it's sloppy. I don't particularly like doing it like this, but this is how I'm going to do it, just to make sure that I can get something to some proof that I got something done today. So if, all right, so it's just if line. Oh, whoops. Ifs always need parentheses. And then if you're going to have more than one line, which there's a good chance, you need these curly brackets to declare what's actually going on in the if statement. My mouse, there it is. All right, so in this case, if I'm going to have to do some string modifications here. What I really need to do is I need to find the text Twitch account name. So let me pull a window over here. Java string functions. Let's look for find. Aha. Instead of find, it is index of. Is what we're looking for. So, as it says here, returns the index within the string of the first occurrence of the specified substring. It does not occur, if it does not occur, I apologize, as a substring, -1 is returned. Okay, so this is important. What I'm going to do is line, oops, if I can type it, line, dot, let's get this right, index of, in this case we're doing the Twitch account name. I'm going to add the colon into it. And, well, I'm going to leave the space out for now. So, this is going to, okay, oh, so this is what it's looking for. That's going to return a number between, probably between 0 and however long the string might be. But I want to make sure that it is not equal to -1. Why is that kind of grayed out? No? Is that not equals? Ah, nope, that's SQL not equals. Not equals in Java is that. If you're, yeah, which of course is right there. That's how good I am at this. These are called Boolean operators, and they test whether or not something is true. If I wanted to see that it was not equal to, if I wanted it only to run when it was -1, you do double equal sign. If you do single equal sign, it will set that value, or it will not compile, one of the two. And if you want it to not equal that, then you do exclamation point and then -1. All right, so what this says basically is that if it finds Twitch account name : in the line, it's going to run what's in here. So in this case, what I needed to do is I need to set a new name. Or actually, because I have multiple variables, I'm going to declare them up here. Private. We're going to do bot name again. Oh, I forgot the type. This is a type string. And then I'm only going to do the 2 for today. So I just want to get this kind of working again, and I'm only really using the 2 at the moment. String. This is going to be bot password. Now these should be available to any function within this class. You should be able to call it and change it. But because they're private, if I try to create a new helper bot main in a different file, that new function wouldn't be able to see these because they're private. In this instance, it's not a big deal, but it's just something to be aware of. Okay, so Twitch account name is not equal to 1. Set. I want it to set bot name equal to. I'm going to terminate that from now, because I need to come back here to my string modifiers. All right, so let's check out Java strings. What I probably need, string length, is I need a function to take the text from the right of the string and then come this way, come to the left, a number of characters that I pass it. String methods. Character at, compare to, ignore case, concatenate, content equals, copy value, ends with, equals to, equal, get bytes, characters, hash code, index of. So index of is important, and I'm going to be using that again. I'm going to be using length again, too. Last index of, oh, that's good to know. Oh, there we go, I need length as well. Does it not have left and right? String replace. I could run a replace on it. Replace all. String was first. String split. Boolean starts with. Oh, I can even do starts with instead. Ah, here we go. Substring. So substring takes two values. This is the one I'm going to be using. It takes a starting number and an ending number. And what it's going to do is it's going to take the value of the string between those two numbers, which is indicative of the number of characters in the string, and pass it back to what I'm calling. So, in this case, the bot name is going to be line dot substring. Is it really not? Doesn't have the second one capitalized. Okay, that's fine. Now, I have a couple options again. I can just hit right on my pad 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 is the number of characters from the beginning to the colon. Let's do 21, include the space, since I left the space in there. I could then do from 22 to the length. But I'm going to try and make this a little dynamic. I'm going to do this. I want the start of it to be this, which will find the place, the index, the place of that. Or no, wait, that's not good. Oh. Okay, so I think I can do this actually. Let's do this. That declares that as a temporary variable, basically, which would allow me to do length on it. And that'll give me the starting point. Now I need the ending point, which is line, the whole line, dot length. And that should give me the bot name out of the file. All right, so let's save that. Okay, now helper bot, Dagon bot. So let's comment all of this out, because as nice as all that stuff is, I want to test my new function here. So we're going to run get settings. Oh, also I'm going to change this to void, because this doesn't return anything. If this has a specific type instead of void, you need to have a return function and actually have it send something back. But I just want this to run because it's setting these variables up here. So it should be able to run get settings, and then I should be able to do system. Is it system.out? I can never remember the exact of how this works. So this is going to print out. Okay. And so that's going to print out bot name. All right. So what this should do, in theory, when this runs get settings, comes down to here, sets our file name, defaults that, and then starts reading in the file. It's going to print out every line. And actually, I'm going to do this too. And I'm going to print out I'm going to print out read in bot name, or let's bot name from file. Bot name. All right, so that should tell us what the bot name is right after it assigns it, right after this line. Once this finishes reading the file, it's going to print out each line. Then it's going to come back to here, and it should print out the bot name again. Not because I expect it to change, but just because I want to see what it's doing. So let's compile that. Oops. Non-static method get settings cannot be referenced from a static content. Oops. Public static void settings. That's my mistake. Non-static variable bot name cannot be referenced from static content. Interesting. I probably did this a little wrong. Let's take a look at the Hello World app. If I still have that open, I do not. String username. I have the username. I remember doing this before. Non-static variable bot name cannot be referenced for a static content. But I forget what the answer was. I don't know how to fix it. So I'm not actually using the username, I'm using get the username. Why did I have to make that static? There was an answer to all this, and to be honest, I'm blanking on it. Ah. I think I have to declare this. So this is going to be a helper bot main. Capitalization matters. Main bot equals new helper bot main. Just like that. And actually, I'm going to copy the constructor out of this one. This program automatically adds them. I deleted it because I didn't think I needed it. Clearly I was mistaken. And these two are not necessary. Looks like that isn't necessary, and that's not necessary. I should just need the constructor. But I need to be able to use the constructor like this, main bot.getSettings, and that should allow me to actually run this. No? Alright. Public get name, or get bot name. Let's make sure bot name. Oh, alright, I need a type. This is going to return a type of string. Return bot name. So now I can do main bot dot get bot name. Okay. Cannot find symbol. Oh, yeah, this is because I'm trying to do something funny. Oops. Oops. I was a little worried about that, to be honest. What if I can just leave it like that? No errors. Okay. Hope I didn't look too surprised on that one. What's this? Okay, we need that stuff. What else do I have open though? Let's close all this stuff out. Okay. Helper bot main. Void main. So this actually runs our program. Okay, check that out. It ran bot name from file. So it's grabbing the bot name. It did add in a space though, so I have that off by 1. Unfortunately, there's part of my password. I have a question. Why don't I use Eclipse or IntelliJ? I've used Eclipse in the past, and it's not that it was bad, but I wanted to try something new. IntelliJ I hadn't actually heard of. I didn't do an immensely extensive search in terms of what IDE I could use or what would be recommended. So I picked BlueJ kind of unknowing what I was doing. But to be honest, I'm kind of liking this interface. It's probably got its own little bits of wonkiness, I'm sure, but it's overall been really nice. I like how it colors the text. I like how it fades the lines like this, so you can see the groupings. It even has if you look here, you've got green, yellow, gray, and red, and then is that gray again? Yeah. So I kind of like it. It's not necessarily the perfect one. Everyone's going to have their own preference. in terms of what IDE they use, but I'm really not hating this one. In fact, I'm kind of liking it. I like how it puts everything on the screen for me, nice and easy. But yeah, it's a good question, B-Shred. Okay, so I had that off by 1 because I wasn't including the space. Oops, numlock got turned off. So I'm going to add 1 in there. I'm going to save that. Oh, and actually, just to make sure, I'm going to tack on an end there, just so I know exactly what the bot's doing. In fact, I'm going to take that space out just so I can make sure. And this should print out exactly what the bot name is. All right, so search IntelliJ. It's really easy, cool, and very customizable. You can set your syntax to whatever you want. That's good to know. I will look into that. You know, I'll take a look at it and see if I prefer that or want to stick with this. I've got some experience in this, and I've been doing my stream in this, so I kind of looking to keep it. But if it looks better, then I'll switch over. So thank you for the suggestion. I will take a look into that. In fact, let me make sure I don't forget. Oops. In fact, I'm going to add it right into here. Look into IntelliJ. Okay, there we go. All right, compile and run. Dagenbot N. There we go. That's the exact name that I wanted. Right there. Perfect. Okay. We've got a few minutes more. I am going to try and get the password to function, which I'll then have to reset again, which is not that big a deal, obviously. Looks like I'm still streaming. My screen just went black and then came back. I'm not sure what's doing that. I really wish I could find that out. Might be my follower notifications. It seems like the first one I get every day sort of resets it. So if everything goes black for a second, I apologize. So Eclipse is similar to IntelliJ, but at times very annoying. Like when you type a variable name and then a period and then press space, and then Eclipse just doesn't do it right. Yeah, all of these IDEs have their ins and outs. None of them is going to be 100% what anybody wants. Some people like how they do things automatically. Some people don't like how they do things automatically. I kind of like that this one sets up files automatically. Like just to demonstrate, if I do a new class, I'm just going to do test class, just so I can demonstrate here. It puts it up there, and then when I double click it, it creates it with the class name. Here's the constructor. Here's an example variable. Like it gives you all the basic things you need in order to start writing your own class. Also, it automatically added this arrow in, so I know that there's this dependency between the two of them. So, I kind of like it. I kind of do. And, you know, maybe I won't use it forever, but I think this is really good for right now. Okay, so it's getting the Twitch account name setting. Now I need an else if instead of Twitch account name, I'm going to use Twitch password. Place that. All right, so bot password, here it is. I'm going to copy and paste that. Password. So this is going to do basically the same thing, except instead of Twitch account name, it's going to be Twitch password. Instead of setting it to the bot name, it's going to set it to the bot password. Bot password for the file. Line.length. Okay. Alright, another comment from B-Shred. I'm not going to lie, from my experiences with BlueJ, it was very good. I like the way it set up things like that for you. But at times, Eclipse's control space is very useful in writing a lot of code. Yeah, I agree. There's always those little things that every IDE does that, like, man, I wish they all had this, but at the same time, it's got those other little problems that you're like, I wish it didn't do this. And so it's trying to strike that balance. And I do wish I could hit a button and have it show all of my options in terms of what to do with a variable, but at the same time, this is making me look it up, which helps me actually learn it and remember it, which is what I really want in the long run. So, yeah, I mean, I will still look into IntelliJ. I will do that. Okay, so got that all set up. Compile it to make sure. Yep, I need to do this, but let's do get bot password, password, right? Yep. Okay. Save it, compile it, run it. Bang. There's my username, there's my password, which I'm going to go ahead and swap right now. Just to make sure I don't forget. Twitchapps.com, TMI. And reset. Yep, it's different. Okay. Alright, so now that I have those two working, what I'll do next time, since it's starting to get late, unfortunately, I need to go eat dinner and do some chores. Next time what we're going to do is we're going to start using these variables, which come from the file, to get the bot instantiated that way, so that we can actually start reading these settings in. And then we'll probably work on adding some more complexity to the bot. Maybe give it some more commands to read. Excuse me. Make sure that it's using our points name, all that good stuff. We'll start working on actually getting this to becoming somewhere close to becoming a real bot. We'll probably get it connected to the channel, and maybe we'll start playing with it, sending it as many commands as we can. But yeah, so that's what I'm planning for next time. All right. So let me close this out. Tools, let's reset that. Clear this? Yeah, there it is. All right, so we got another comment from B-Shred. It's too bad that you can't really please everyone. Yeah, exactly. No IDE is going to have everything you want, and all of them are going to have things you don't want. And even if one had everything you want, there's going to be times you don't want it, and it's so tough. And a quick tip when opening your project file in IntelliJ, click on the class path file when you go to Open File or Open Project. Okay. I'll, you know what, I'll add that into my little note there. There we go. So I won't forget that. I'll look into that on my own time. I'll tell you what, I'll toss you a follow.
I followed too.
Oh good, Signa followed as well. So you'll actually probably get about 3 follows coming in here. So that's everything I have planned for the night. If you guys have any questions, by all means, you can ask now. If you want to send me a message, you can ask me later too. That's fine. I'm going to do everything I can to answer people's questions and try and... I really want to get other people interested in programming and get them started on their way to doing it, if that's what you really want to do. I really want to help people out, because it's hard to get into into programming because it's such a specific thing. Like you need. Let's see if I can log back into Twitch here. It really wants me to log in as Dagenbot. Programming is very cool, but it is very hard and at times hard to learn. Exactly. You need to, I wish there was more education for programming. That depends on where you are. Like I know in my high school, which I graduated in 2000 from, we actually had 2 programming classes. We had an introduction to programming, and then we had a more advanced programming. And the more advanced programming actually was C++. I mean, it was only half of the school year, so we didn't really get that in depth, but it did give us a really good baseline of programming, just to kind of get everybody's appetites wet. To give you the example of what it can be. And I really enjoyed both those classes, and it really set me up. I ended up taking computer science in college, and I graduated from that back in 2005. So, yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of online resources too. In fact, I'm now one of them, in order to learn how to program. And you can, but the hardest part is getting those couple of first hooks in. Like you need to know. It's hard. In order to really learn something on your own, you need to know what you don't know. And the problem with programming is, you could search how to program, and it's going to give you all these things that you need to know, and it's not going to give you a very clear-cut path. Here is where you start, and here is where you go. And so that's one of the good things that school can do. Learning C++ is not an easy thing, and there is much of a lack of C++ tutorials. C++ is tough because it's so powerful, I would say. There's so many things that it can do. I mean, you can learn the basic C++ stuff in an evening. Like you can learn how to make it print things out, you can learn how to make it read files and all that, but if you really want to get down and do really the really cool things that you can do with C++, yeah, it takes a lot of knowledge. Like especially if you want to create programs that like access drivers or like use DirectX, stuff like that. Like it's a very specialized thing. The library can be a good resource, but not very good for visual representations. That is another good point. Like just looking at code and looking at snippets of what it's trying to reference only helps so much. Like you need all of the knowledge to get up to the point where that snippet helps, which even if you've read the entire book, you might not have gotten. So that's kind of why I'm doing this, is that I am taking I'm taking everybody that wants to watch through the whole process of writing a program. And I am, in this process, relearning Java, because I haven't used Java in at least 6 or 7 years. So I'm relearning it, I'm teaching it, trying to teach it as I learn it, which probably makes it a little sloppy, but, I'm doing what I can. And I figured this is interesting anyway, because my questions that I ask are going to be the same questions that other people have too, and so I can also show you how I look them up and how I find my answers, and hopefully that helps everybody. The Java compiler was programmed in C++. Really, for anything that's low level, it's going to be done in C or C++. There is a minor differences between those two. Linux, if I'm not mistaken, as an example, which is an operating system, was written in C. Windows might be written in C++. I'm not positive on that. It might be in C. It's going to be one of the two, though. That's really, and I'm sure it has sections that weren't written in C++, that were written possibly even in directly in computer code. But generally speaking, those are the two go-to programs for programming languages, I apologize, for the lowest level of things. So C++ can be more powerful than many other languages, that's very true, but at times very slow. Like a window that will not be fast, and most of the time will take most of your time. Yeah, like making your own interfaces in C++. I remember trying it back in, oh my, I think it was like 2003 or 2002. It's tough. You really have to know what you're doing. You have to have a lot of experience in it, and you have to really be willing to sit down and optimize it as much as possible. And the libraries are tough to find. They are. And then if you actually want to write, like let's say you want to write a game, to write the engine for a game is insane these days. Like nobody really does it anymore because they have these great engines pre-built. It's like you can get the Unreal Engine, or I'm blanking on all the other ones, but the Unreal one's a popular one, so people should know what that is. And then you have a good base point to start from. Yeah, C++ Windows 32 programming. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it for anybody in the long run. Well, I guess in the short run. There's plenty of people that do it in the long run. And do a really good job of it, too. I'm not one of them. Recompile that. Okay. All right. So somebody else named the Benny Box is making a game with Java and C++ for the Ludum Dare. The Ludum Dare, if I'm not mistaken, is a I think it's you get 24 hours to write your program, and so your game you would get 24 hours to write your game. You have to take a game from nothing to complete in 24 hours. Oh, and he's writing a web engine, a game engine in it. Well, that sounds great.
Looks like it's 2 days, 48 hours.
2 days or 48 hours. Signa just looked it up for me, which I appreciate. And you might have heard her say it too. All right, that is great. Maybe if we're still doing this in a year or whenever that comes up again, we'll see if we can't do the Ludum Dare. But I worry that would be uninteresting for people to watch because I would probably have to focus a lot, which would prevent me from speaking to chat. But yeah, I'm tired. I had a full day of work, and now dinner's waiting on me, so I'm going to get going. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you're an active channel, thank you for sticking around. Thank you for following. If you followed, I didn't see any, but I might have missed them. I do apologize if I didn't call you out. By all means, thank you. Oh, the Ludum Dare is actually its own playlist on Twitch. That's fantastic. So I have a Twitter account that's linked on our profile. We have a YouTube account. All of our videos will end up there if they are not in our past broadcast, because I know they do clear those out every once in a while. But yeah, you can check out my previous streams. I'm going to do this again probably on Saturday, possibly on Friday night. But if not either of those, because things might come up, then definitely next Monday. Mondays and Wednesdays I'm going to shoot to always do the stream on. And I will see you all later. Thank you for joining.